Welcome to Ion Franchising, where you will learn the A to Z's of franchising. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another fabulous episode of Ion Franchising. I'm your host, Lance Graulich. Today we have, let's just say we have a brand and a niche that many of you have never heard of, especially in a franchise. So today, let's start with the introductions. Jason Stowe. He started his career as a chef in Park City, Utah, a beautiful place, especially in the wintertime for skiing. I think it's great in the summertime too. We'll let Jason tell you more about that. Eventually ended up in multi-unit leadership in the restaurant space. My friend's concept, Zuka Juice. Hi, Dave. Hopefully you're listening. And let's see. He moved on. VP of Franchise Development for Costa Vida. I used to love Costa Vida, but there's none near me. Then in 2014, he ventured out to his own deal, helping business owners and franchisees achieve their greatest potential. So welcome to the show, Jason Stowe.
Thank you very much, Lance. Appreciate being here.
Awesome. Lovely to have you. And VP of Franchise Development for today's brand, Cyberbacker.
Yes.
And next up, the founder, the man we've all waited for. This gentleman, early on in his career, all entrepreneurs have a story, and I don't want to spoil it all, but let's just say you find a problem or a pain point and you solve it, right? That's what entrepreneurs do. And early on in his real estate career, he experienced the power of leveraging admin support with assistants who were virtual assistants. VAs is the terminology that was born. And this allowed him to increase deal flow, I'm sure cash flow, certainly workflow, and free up his schedule. So without further ado, the genius founder of Cyberbacker, Craig Goodliffe. Welcome, Craig. How you doing?
Thanks, Lance. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here. I am not worthy of half of what you said. I don't know what they're paying you for that, but double it from me.
Thank you for the sponsorship. Jason did pay me. No, just kidding.
He's worth it. Trust me.
So gentlemen, let's start off with what I tend to call the obvious. Fill in the blanks of what I didn't say about your backgrounds and how this all came about. As much fun stuff as possible. We have all these potential candidates or prospects that are looking at business opportunities, franchises, why you're a brand. Tell us all about Cyberbacker and the history here.
Well, for me, I stubbed my toe early on in my career so many times because of wanting to help franchisees succeed, but not necessarily having the tools that make that happen. And so I became a systems and operations guy because I just wanted, if I could provide them with the systems and tools that can make their life easier, I just found that it was a great relationship. I mean, I still have franchisees for 25 years ago that I still have connections with, that we talk all the time about the good old days. That's important.
Isn't it great watching somebody that's a first-time business owner just blossom? I mean, it starts with the deer in the headlights look, and then eventually this success kicks in.
Yeah, there's nothing worse when you're as a new business owner in a franchise and you're seeing 500 people wrapped around a building waiting to get into your facility. And you're looking at this going, I've never cooked in my life. I've never managed people in my life. And now I'm getting ready to open doors and serve food to all these people.
Yep.
Yeah, it was quite the thrill.
Love it. So what's the connection? How did you get involved? Were you and Craig old friends? How did this come about?
No. So I've been working with the same law firm for a long, long time, and first started with Jeff Thompson in the Salt Lake market. And then his son and daughter took over the firm, and I started working with Christian, the son. And Christian called me up one day and said, "Hey, I've got this client. He's got a very interesting concept, and he needs some help in developing it out and expanding. Do you mind if I give him your name, a number?" I'm like, "Sure." Next thing I know, I got it. Craig called me up, and we started talking, and I became more of a coach, consultant, person to throw ideas out to, and we talked through a lot. And then I started meeting more of the people on the board and their leadership, and I really came enamored because there's one thing that's most important with Cyberbacker, and it's people. And that's how I've always approached my business career, is people first. And when our values aligned, he just said, well, I'm thinking about franchising it. What do you think? I'm like, well, it's a great idea. Not quite sure how it can work yet.
Right.
And we started talking, and he goes, so what would it do to get you over here? I'm like, oh, twist my arm.
Love it. Love it when a plan comes together. So Craig, let's, was that all true?
Yeah. We started looking while everything was shut down through COVID. We thought this little company, Cyberbacker, we had roughly 150-ish people. No, we crossed 250 people. Sorry, 250, thinking about our timeline. And I called Christian, wonderful franchise attorney. I was looking at, do we license this? Do we franchise this? How do we multiply what we're doing? And there's a lot of different uses. And we talked with a lot of different people. And COVID hits, and we think the ship's going down, like a lot of companies did. We thought the economy's going to tank. We were wrong. We went into 2019. We started 2018. We ended the year creating 100 jobs, roughly. Year 2, 232. Year 3 was 2020. We created 870 jobs that year. And the challenge is, I'm only one person. I know what works in my area for people around me. I know how to be successful, but I don't know other areas. And when you look at how you do that, there's a model of you hire someone, you license out your systems and things like that, or you hire an employee. But I really wanted someone who had just as much success as I could have. And so franchising, kind of through working with Jason, became our only real viable option, where I could see someone becoming massively successful and enjoying this company just as much as I do. And Jason talked about the relationships. That's really what this just drives on. And that's what feeds it. It's the values of the company. We remind everybody of that. And we kind of laugh like it's a big family, because some days, you don't like family members because things occur, but at the end of the day, you still love them. You still care about them. You still want what's best for them. And when I met with Jason, it was one of those things where you meet someone and you're like, this person has a lot to teach me. And he's right. I went ahead and I'm like, okay, he's going to coach me and consult me. And we're going to figure out how we franchise, license, what we do and how we do it. And at some point you get kind of around someone and you're like, it would take me a lifetime to gather this much experience. And at that point, you have to make the decision. Am I willing to learn it, or am I going to find someone who knows it? And through the connection, we decided to work together, and it's been great.
So you mentioned COVID. When COVID hit, it seemed like everybody kind of froze, with depending on what city or state you're in. Obviously, you guys are in Utah. But, as states started shutting down or having lockdowns, that's when everybody panicked, like, what's going on? Are the grocery stores closing? What is going on? And it seemed like after the initial shock of the first couple of weeks, and then eventually a month went by, everybody was kind of back to whatever that new normal was. But then you realized, I'm sure, that your business was perfectly positioned, because everybody's now going to be virtual for who knows how long. And, why not, right? I mean, I can imagine your business grew exponentially at that point.
Yeah, 232 jobs created. We had a goal to create a profit share program so people from all over the world had the opportunity to retire. We went ahead, and the big goal was to profit share in 2020, 50,000. And after COVID hit, the profits weren't there. I thought the sucker's going down. We ended 2020 with 870 jobs created. We profit shared $226,000 back to our associates. They're vested. So when they work with us, 5-year vesting period, they get the rest of their life. They can sell it, they can will it. So it's a big win for our wonderful Cyberbackers who work all over the world.
All right. So now, okay, we gotta park the whole profit sharing piece, because that's certainly your corporate team. So how do you do that? How do you promote that within the culture of a franchise system?
Our franchisees buy into it. It's one of the things that we tell them right off the bat. We give them the history of the company, and we let them know that our big goal, our one thing that we always talk about and we strive for in everything we do, is profit sharing $5 million by the end of 2025, which is going to require us to have about 15,000 jobs created. And right now we'll hit that probably in 2024-ish.
I love that you guys know your metrics, and that's what every great franchisor does. Talk about putting the vision out there, and just everybody, it's just plug and play. You just need franchisees. And you have how many franchisees as of today?
28.
28 franchisees, and you were officially set up for franchising when?
March 1 of 2021.
Yeah, pretty astounding achievement up until now. So how are you finding these franchisees, and what were these people doing before? We should also define very specifically what you're doing. I don't know if there's anybody else like you guys even out there at this point, really just focusing on the VA space. But I can tell you, being home, and I've always been home as a franchise broker, so the pandemic didn't change much. But I guess you can say I like a lot of people that were never on Zoom. I was on Zoom the whole time while I was home. And I kept hearing the word VA, VA. Where do you get your VA? I need help. I need assistance. I need admin support. So when I heard about Cyberbacker, I'm like, oh gosh, these guys are geniuses. So I got to hear more.
Yeah. So, I mean, the pool is very small when you consider all the industries that are out there. But there's one leading pool out there that everybody is used to leveraging themselves, and that's in the real estate sector. And because of Craig and his relationship with great people at Keller Williams, we chose to go down the route of introducing the franchise concept to all the KW family members. And we went to the ones that were already using Cyberbacker and had multiple Cyberbackers that they were using. We considered them brand ambassadors, and we said, you're already doing this, so why not invest in Cyberbacker franchise? You're out there talking about it anyways. You love what's going on. Why not make some money off of this thing, and let's partner together? Yeah, I think it became a very easy proposition.
Peter Drucker, I come from a Wall Street family. I think it was Peter Drucker, one of the world's most famous investors, used to say, buy stocks that you already know. If you go to Starbucks, go buy Starbucks. If you go to Walmart, go to Walmart. So I love your logic, because that's what it is. Let's talk about from the client side. So if you want a virtual assistant, how does it work? How does it work, on the corporate side right now? We'll get into the franchise side.
Well, first thing is you go ahead and meet with one of our growth backers who go ahead and understand the scope of work, because we're not promising they can do every job. They can do almost everything, provided it doesn't require a physical presence or license or certification. And with telepresence, we're kind of working on that physical presence piece a little bit right now. We're experimenting in the lab, but they meet with them and they go ahead and come up with, here's what you want someone to do, and can we staff that? Then they take that to our career team. Our career team on average right now gets 10,000 applicants on average per week. We do 3,500 interviews on average per week. From those, we select less than 100 on average per week. Wow. And those are some big metrics, but we're looking for the highest people that we could bet our company on. And when our clients come to us, they're betting their company on us. We take that very seriously. We honor that relationship. So we're looking for the best of the best. We go back to the person. We do a rapid fire. You got to go ahead, and it's like speed dating. You interview 5 people rapidly. You pick your one favorite. But we've went ahead, we've already screened them. We've made sure they're good. Said these are the top 5. You have a one-on-one conversation with that person. You make sure you like them. And if you do, then it goes ahead and their training curriculum starts getting built to make sure that experience they already have, we can add and compound onto it. Then they're working with the client. There's a head backer who's going to be checking in every week, making sure they attend training classes, checking to make sure the understanding's there. We've got roughly 200 head backers. Each of them teach 2 classes a month. So on average, we offer 400 classes per month.
Wow.
And it's a retention program, because finding them, as tough it is to take it from 10,000 people down to less than 100, it's even tougher to keep them.
Yeah.
Because that's a tough one. But when there's training that's constantly ongoing, there's a profit share program they can retire. Plus, through Cyber Capital, we lend them money to buy houses and cars, and we profit share the interest. We make it so it's got a very, very compelling reason to stay with the company long term.
Such a great idea. Now, I guess it's an obvious question because there are VAs all over the world. Are you using only US based, or are you using people from everywhere depending on the circumstance?
Well, we do have for internal Cyberbacker, we've got a few different places. Primarily, we go ahead and we hire out of the Philippines because in some countries, one of the questions we've been asked a lot is how do I keep people from stealing from me? And there's that kind of theft thing because in the Philippines, according to the Commercial Code Section 150, if you're a foreigner and they steal from you without a legal entity or representation there, you can't do anything. They can take whatever they want and you have no enforcement. This is true in a lot of countries.
Wow.
We've got multiple entities in the Philippines that allow us to go ahead, and they know that they're going to be just as honest as someone sitting in an office. And if not, they're going to be subject to the same consequences. And because of that, we've been able to hire great people and keep them accountable and do a great job. There's a lot of companies who are attempting to do that without an entity in the Philippines. I saw one company that I was talking to the other person who started it. He says, well, we have insurance. I said, does that protect the client? He says, no, but it protects us. And I went, yikes, your people know they can steal and that you're okay, but the person who came to you asking for help, they're going to be in a bad spot.
So much for the team approach.
Yeah.
Crazy. So let's talk about the ideal franchisee that you have today. Out of those first 20 plus franchisees, what are those people, what did they do before? Like, why Cyberbacker? If I was going to interview all of them right now in a rapid fire sort of scenario, what would they tell me? Well, Lance, of course you met, Jason and Craig, they're amazing. Well, yeah, besides that, of course. Why? What would they say?
So our first franchisee came because he approached me when Cyberbacker was new and he said, hey, I've got this idea to have them go ahead and do these specific tasks. Can we work together on it? And it was going pretty good. We were having a conversation. I really like this guy's name's Rich. And I said, if something happens to you, our agreement is you're basically an independent contractor. And I care about you and I care about your family and you owe nothing. And I really didn't like that. Didn't sit with me too well. Rich's background, he's owned multiple businesses and he understands, like a lot of our franchise owners, the different business models that just kind of make a business work, from having an economic model, a budget model, a lead generation model, an organizational model. When they have those components, and a lot of the agents at Keller Williams who've run big businesses and real estate companies, they kind of have that. Yeah. That's the one component that all of our successful ones typically have. So that's kind of their DNA and their makeup.
Yeah. So they all have some sort of sales ability, business development. They feel comfortable with people.
Yeah. And they're a client. If they're not a client, they haven't used it. The concept's still too foreign to them a lot of times.
Right.
They're just not the right person.
Right. But are all 23 or so of the first franchisees in the last year connected somehow to Keller Williams?
All of them.
Wow. I love it. So let's talk about your franchise selection process. Yeah. So as you continue to grow this, what does that process look like? Obviously, there's a first phone call, and then it goes all the way to some sort of validation. I'm assuming you get to talk to existing franchisees to see how the experience is. So, Jason, you want to share that?
Yeah. So like I mentioned before, we have an initial interview call with them to identify if they have a good understanding of business, if they're successful in the region that they're looking at wanting, what their sphere of influence looks like in the networks. We obviously give them contact information for all our existing franchisees to call. We go through all the franchise disclosure document in detail to make sure they understand what they're getting involved with. It's a pretty easy process on our end. On their end, it's a little bit harder because they've got to identify the market. And right now, up until the end of this month, we've been offering them all a market area exclusive, meaning that they could own the whole entire state of Tennessee, for example. And we use the market index of real estate as the top line barometer. And they are required to get to a 10% market share in year one for real estate agents, and then 15% in year two. But then we took it one step further and we said, you know what? Now that we've tapped the real estate industry and we've got all these exclusives covering the United States and Canada. Let's go to tier 2, which is the next level of industries that we want to onboard. So we've identified 10 new industries or more. And then I go to those franchisees and I say, you know what? If you know people in these industries, let's bring them on, interview them, make them a franchisee in your area. You'll get a piece of everything for mentoring and coaching them.
I love it. You guys are thinking. I love this. I love the outside the box thinking.
Well, and
Because yeah, go ahead, Craig.
it's
Sorry.
top line geographic, top line's geographic tier, and then it's a demographic tier. So because we have this theory that people know people in their industry, and people want to see what are successful people doing and what can I R&D, rip off and duplicate.
Right. So the territories that you guys mentioned, obviously people love, prospective franchisees love to hear they have a big territory.
Yep.
So is obviously as you get to larger states, I'm talking about by population, are you intending to split up California in 6 slices or something like that?
Exactly. We have, for example, we have 5 franchisees in Texas that took down, different parts of Texas. We've got, we'll end up with 7 or 8 in California. Right now we have 4. And then we've got this whole central region that's still open, but it's going to end up being split in 3. So yeah, we just look at it. We either identify it by county, if it's a big area, or by state. It all depends on the economics and the number of potential customers in that industry. And, they love the opportunity because when they got in early with us, we're allowing them to become, to pay it forward, essentially. They're going to help other industry leaders become successful through virtual assistants, cyberbackers.
Yeah, no, this is such a great concept. Now, how much work is this for the franchisee? As you guys certainly know by now, in the world of franchising, there are the owner-operator model, there's the semi-absentee model where you can work 10 hours a week and kind of hire a manager, and then there's more like the executive level. Is this something where you just have a lot of work in the beginning for the first year to lay the groundwork and spread the word, so to speak, in your local market? I mean, Craig, why don't you talk a little bit about that? I mean, maybe some of it goes to your vision and how you started the company.
Yeah. If you look at it, if you know your area and you know your influence, it's not a lot of work, because you could go endorse, a cleaning product, and because of your name, your validation, people are going to trust that just because of who you are. Plus, if you say, look, I'm also going to show you how it works, and I'm going to work with you to make it better as we go, people trust that. If you are brand new and like a spaceship dropped you into a new area and you're a Cyberbacker franchise owner, it's going to be extremely hard for you because you haven't developed the influence. You haven't demonstrated the name. There's no track record. And so different franchise owners are going to have different levels of success. When we started the company, I originally was helping people who coached business owners like I do. And originally that's all Cyberbacker was going to be for about the first 6 months. And then it just kind of got bigger and we didn't want to stop it. So we started building an airplane while it was flying. That's what it felt like. But in that market, I just happened to have some influence because I trained a lot of the new coaches and I helped a lot of coaches along the way. And my demographic was about 384 people. In less than 90 days, we had more than 50 people signed up. And this is a brand new startup company. We just said, I think I can help you. Let me show you how. And let's talk about how we can make it better. And that's what we did. It's just, they got too good and started learning from each other and the Cyberbackers network, and they got even better. So that's kind of how that started, but it's level of influence in your market and in your territory. I mean, really, it's how good's your reputation. Do you have a reputation as someone who cares about others, wants to help them? Are you successful in what you do? And if you do, startup's going to be pretty easy because people already know you and they want to be like you.
Yeah.
Here's what takes it over the top. A franchisee, we don't leave them on their own to do this. Every franchise comes with a whole support team that they hire specifically for this. And so they have an immediate growth backer that takes care of all the selling and the calling. They have a career backer that takes care of the pairing, the head backer that takes care of the training. Our franchisees only have to focus on 20% of the business. Their support team takes care of 80% of it.
I love it. I love it. So obviously, this, to sum up, you're looking for connectors. It's got to be somebody that is a connector.
Influencers.
Influencers. They already have some sort of established network, whether it's real estate or it could be a lot of other industries. But I love the real estate example because everybody knows what somebody in real estate does.
Yeah,
that smiley, happy person.
Smiley, happy people. But now we're transitioning more of we got to educate the other industries of saying, how much time do you waste on a daily basis answering emails or looking at your calendar or trying to get these bids done because you're a contractor and you're just buried, and you go home at night, you're irritable to your kids, you have no time with your spouse, you were working weekends. Well, let's give your life back to you. Yeah. Let us help you get a cyberbacker to help you manage that, and in so many different ways. And people free up their time, and then all of a sudden they're going, well, I could do this for others. I could coach others how to do this. Well, yeah, now buy a franchise and let's do it.
Yep, I love it. So let's talk about the investment. So to get a whole state or territory, I mean, what is that all in investment? What is your franchise disclosure document? What is that range, I guess you could say?
On the minimum, on the low end, 65,000, high end, 92,000.
Great. Very low cost investment. And the ramp up time, because you're selecting the appropriate people, is going to be quicker than most. How many?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. You probably in training make them make a list of all the people they know.
We make them make a list of everybody they know, but within 3 weeks, they got their growth backer hired, their career backer hired. They've got the list of people to contact. They can start making money in 3 weeks.
This is amazing. So, I mean, really, in a way, it's interesting because there's been so many staffing companies over the years, and, whether it's healthcare or IT, retail, during the pandemic, Walmart's still looking, Target's looking for employees. So there are all these specialized staffing companies. It seems like, in a way, you're just the coolest new staffing company, but it's for what everybody can practically use. I mean, that's what kind of hits me today.
We're the staffing company that has staff that loves what they do, loves helping their clients succeed, shows up every day with a happy smile on their face, appreciates and is so grateful to have the work. It's a little bit different than what we experience here right now in the culture we live in. Yeah.
Wonderful. So what, that validation, I'm sure you have plenty of happy franchisees. If I was going to talk to your top 5 franchisees in this young franchise company of yours that's grown so quickly, I'm sure very controlled. What is that, how excited are they to share their success? I mean, this has got to be pretty life-changing for some of these people.
So this is a funny story. One of our franchisees in Chicago, Amy, she called me up super excited. She's like, I just signed on a new client. I'm like, okay, where from? It was my chiropractor. He was crunching my back, and I told them that he needed help. I just got involved with Cyberbacker, and now I'm going to have them helping either with scheduling, social media, client relationship, whatever it is. That's what we're getting from all our top people. It doesn't matter where they're at. They're just talking about Cyberbackers and how it's helped them in their life gain time back to produce more meaningful time in their relationships. And when they say that, it's a game changer.
Yeah. I love the fact that you've given this credibility to this VA space, because, Craig, as you were saying earlier, I have quite a few friends that on their own attempted to get people. I heard the Philippines is one of the best places to work with, but to your exact point about the legalese of it, they didn't know how to do that. How would they know?
I figured out because I had someone steal some of my intellectual property. And when I knew well, I made that mistake because, how do you learn this stuff? We'll make mistakes. Go out and just keep messing up. The thing is, though, as you grow your business, the mistakes have bigger financial consequences.
Yeah.
So
no, this has been pretty enlightening. What did we miss today that you guys want to cover? We got some time.
I think the biggest thing in the franchise world that you're very well aware of is a lot of people go for the bottom line first, right? And when you're driving for that profitability first, you forget the people, you forget your pride and the product that you're delivering on. And because we're so people centric, number one is our goal to take care of our people. Our franchisees catch that vision and they want to create as many jobs possible so that they can say, I helped generate 200 of those jobs in the Philippines, or when we go to South America, or wherever we end up at, they're part of this, they're part of it. Whereas a lot of people in the franchise world figure I'm just a restaurant total number and I'm just producing a royalty or a revenue for those guys over there and they're making money off. I'm just a number. Our people don't feel like that. Our people feel like we're on a battleship of rowers and we're rowing in the same direction. And if one is not rowing as quick or fast, everybody knows about it every Friday because we present our numbers and that franchisee is going to look at it going, oh, wait a second, I'm way behind. What is that individual that's killing it doing? And they contact them through the back channel and find out what's going on. And we just all rise together.
I love it. Craig, I know you have something to add to that.
No, this just really went ahead, and this whole concept and everything it stems from the problems I've had in just trying to be as productive as I could be in this world, and having relationships where our first person, Daphne, she's almost been with this 10 years. This is a woman who went ahead and got pregnant, had a boyfriend who was into some pretty heavy drugs, was at the hospital delivering this newborn baby and said, I don't want to take him into that lifestyle. She went home with strangers. She went ahead, just has this newborn baby, does that, and goes out there and says, okay, well, how do I work online? And through whatever channels, me posting it out on Craigslist way back when that was a thing, contacted me. I thought she was going to scam me. She thought I was going to scam her. It worked. And when I heard her story, I went, that's a powerful story. I've never had a day like that in my life. And so just stemming from that right there, where I understood someone else's perspective and I thought, how do I make life better for this person? That's where a lot of this came from. And a lot of our successful franchise owners, what Jason was saying is that's the perspective they take. How to make life better for this person. And that kind of ends up being the philosophy of the company overall. And I think as long as you have everybody watching out for everybody, you don't have the problems a lot of people have in their companies, and you don't feel like just a number because someone cares about you. And it's very, very basic, fundamental things like we're going to take care of each other. We're going to care about each other. We're going to operate with integrity. We're going to be honest. We're going to be accountable. And it's just going to be the way we operate. And those really basic things are a company I want to be a part of. When you look at profit sharing, companies used to have pensions. Companies used to go ahead and care more about their people. What Jason's saying about a franchisee feeling like another number, I think a lot of people who are employees out there feel like just another number. And I think there's a big reason you see this great resignation, because people just feel underappreciated and undervalued.
Yeah. So many people, the great resignations happen because people had that epiphany. We all know they're sitting at home thinking there's got to be something else. And that's what I do, as sometimes people call me the franchise evangelist, showing people the way that there are franchises out there that fit you, that suit you, that you can do much better for yourself and your family and have a better schedule. And sure, you can afford this, or I help them with financing. I got somebody a zero down franchise finance deal recently with a conventional loan, which was crazy. So I tell people anybody can do it. Look, guys, I'm incredibly impressed with not only what you've done, but your culture that you've created. So in order to keep that culture intact, I mean, Craig, I'm assuming you have the final word on anybody coming on board. I mean, is that they have to see you and have a conversation with you? I think, was it Warren Buffett or Steve Jobs that always said, I can always tell when I have a meal with somebody. I mean, maybe now we're not back to having meals with people. It's more like on Zoom. I get to look at them and see how they hold themselves or carry themselves. But Craig, are you the final word on all this?
No, and I don't want to be, because when you look at someone like Jason, I trust the man with the business. I would bet the company on him. And I think you have to be the kind of leader that leads that way. And it's the same thing with our vice president of career. It's the same thing with our vice president of growth. It's the same thing with all the people in the company. I have to trust that they can identify a good moral character. And there's been times in the past that what we learned is that they couldn't, and we had to make a correction, unfortunately. But if you go ahead and micromanage too many parts of this, and people just don't have the ability to grow and think, it harms the company. Now, at the same time, I keep my phone open. Everyone in Cyberbacker, all 2,519 Cyberbackers have my number. They have a method to contact me. We encourage it. So I get hundreds of messages every day from them. And it's the same thing with our franchise owners. We welcome open communication. But I trust the leaders in this company. I mean, it's the battleship rowing, it's their ship too.
Yeah. This is fantastic. All right, gentlemen. Jason, final word.
This has been such an amazing ride. I mean, it's so new and fresh to wake up every day so excited, not just to be a part of a great organization, but to be able to affect change somewhere in the world and see that change and witness it is amazing. But also watching our franchisees, I love it. It is so much fun.
Love it. I love your passion, and I love your purpose and what you guys have done. Craig, any final words of wisdom before we sign off?
If I'm going to tell something, just take care of other people. Just help them be as successful as they can. Show them the path to living the best life possible. Making a lot of money is the thing. Cool. Show them how to make it. But life's too short to go ahead and just work jobs you hate, to buy stuff you don't really want or need. And I think just the old fashioned, let's just take care of each other. Let's just get through life together. Let's build something great. I think that's kind of the most important thing.
I love it. Well, gentlemen, Jason, Craig, Cyberbacker is the franchise. We'll put everything in the show notes so people know how to find you. And thank you, gentlemen, so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening today. Please like, follow, and subscribe. This is Lance Graulich. Until next time.